I just found out my wife is cheating on me. Well, she's going to leave me, and she's going to go to this new guy who lives all the way in Texas. I found out everything by listening to a few voicemails. Well, guys, I want to go back and just start from the beginning because this one is so crazy, I don't even know where to start. Hey, my name's Chris, and I'm narrating a story to you. There's a lot that's going on in my life, and I have very mixed feelings about everything. I could not comprehend and process things, so I thought sharing it with you and getting your feedback on it might clear my mind to some extent. The main problem in my life is the fact that I know my wife Sarah is having an affair. I don't have proof of that, and I cannot say that I have witnessed something with my own eyes that would make it sure for me, but I know that she's cheating. I know a lot of you guys are going to call me crazy for saying something like this, but I can bet my life on it. Let me introduce you to myself so that you can get an idea about what I'm even saying. I met Sarah when I was in college. We belonged to different departments, but we met at an event. It was a very accidental meetup, you could say, as she spilled coffee on my shirt. And then she was very sorry about it, so she offered to buy me a cup of coffee. That was how we got to talk, and our first date was a coffee date. We did not consider it a date at the time, but long after we started going out, we decided to call it our first date. Believe it or not, on that very day, I knew I was going to marry that girl who had spilled coffee on me. Yeah, I know, it may have sounded stupid at the time, so I did not say it out loud, but I knew it deep inside of my heart. It was really obvious. Our love story was beautiful, as it revolved around two very like-minded people who were keen on making it. Both Sarah and I were very determined to do well in our fields. We supported each other in the hardest phases of our lives. We did not let our relationship get in the path of our career at all. So, with our efforts and luck, Sarah did her master's in business studies and got a well-paid job at her desired company. I became a software engineer and also got a really good job. Sarah and I decided a long time ago that we would only get married when both of us had achieved something. Well, we did not want to cause any sort of obstruction or distraction in our careers, and as we got good jobs, we realized that both of us had achieved our career goals, and thus, we just decided that it was time to get married. We met each other's families, and they welcomed us with whole hearts. Fortunately, there were not any sort of complications. We had a small, intimate wedding to which only our closest people were invited. It was the best day of our lives, and we spent it exactly as we planned at the beginning of our relationship. Now, it's been 2 years since our marriage. The last 2 years have undoubtedly been the best part of my life so far. We did a lot for each other. We had promised in the beginning that we would not turn into one of those toxic couples that we detested strongly. We were intent on making it work. People used to call us that couple who started dating in college and did get married against all odds. We were going to make sure that we did not spoil things, and that's, well, what we did until my wife started an affair. Yeah, I know I already mentioned that I don't have any solid evidence of it, but I'll get to that, I know. My gut is never wrong on this. There has been not a single instance in my life that I've been wrong about something that I suspected. It's something that's given by God, and it saved me hundreds of times. I've learned to trust my gut feeling no matter what. With Sarah, however, it's not just my gut feeling. I've clearly observed a lot of things. Sarah's been acting weird, and I know something's up with her. She's not really been herself around me as of lately, and I just know her inside and out. I know her more than anyone, and I can say that confidently. She's been hiding herself a lot. She doesn't talk as much, and she's very cautious around me. She thinks a lot when saying things, which makes it clear that she's lying to me a lot of times. I know that acting weird does not equal to having an affair. I've ruled out every other possibility, and I cannot track any other reason for her strange behavior. The thing that confirmed my doubts about her cheating on me was when she stayed outside very late. She returned home after midnight, and it happened a lot of times. I know that one can get late, and there are busy days in everyone's job, but Sarah's the sort of person who just cannot give an hour more than her required hours. I don't mean that in a lazy way, and I'm definitely not implying that she does not love her job. It's just that she's very adamant about the fact that people do not need to overwork, and should not be overworked. She has well established this fact about her in her job. And she's so proficient in her field that she's never bothered or asked for more. It's very unlikely that somebody like her would come home late and put it on her job. This showed that she just lied and she was not able to come up with something better. That was the day that I became oh so sure about it, you know. My wife, she was no doubt having an affair. Well, I'll get some evidence soon, guys, I promise. She sucks at lying, but right now I'm just trying to accept the fact that she's thrown away my love for somebody else. These days, the only thing that I'm thankful of is finding evidence that I need to expose her reality. Update number 1. Thank you so much to everybody who gave their advice. Here's what happened next in my life, and things just keep getting worse for me. I've told you guys about me suspecting that my wife was cheating on me. I told you guys about it, well, that she's doing it and it's turned into reality, where I've seen things with my own eyes. But let me first tell you about our financial struggle that's begun. Last week, Sarah lost her job. I don't know what the actual reason was, but Sarah told me that the company had faced some huge losses. Therefore, they had to fire a lot of their employees. Sarah was one of them. She was very sad when she called me and told me about it, so I tried my best to comfort her as much as I could, and I told her that she would soon get a better job and that she did not need to stress much about it. Sarah tried her best to get a new job, but she failed. I was the only one earning now, and it was obviously getting hard to live on one salary. Nothing was being saved, and I told Sarah that we had to cut down on some expenses, as it was hard to afford a lot of things that we could previously afford. I was trying to have a very reasonable and healthy discussion with her, but she totally flipped out. She accused me of taunting her for not having a job, and I was surprised at such a reaction. However, I did not want the argument to keep going, so I left her alone for some time. Sarah kept spending the same manner, and she did not cut down any of the expenses, and I tried to do that. Nothing was being saved. In fact, I had to take out some money from my savings a lot of times. Amidst all of this, there was no financial help for us. I do not come from a well-off family at all. My parents had no money to chip in, and I did not want to bring it up with Sarah. But you know, we were desperate, and I could not think of any other way. So I politely asked Sarah if we could expect any sort of help from her parents. Sarah clearly refused and said that she had not gotten any money from her parents at all. Sarah clearly refused, and her parents were quite well off, unlike mine. Her clear refusal made me wonder if she was lying or if she was hiding something, so I decided to dig into it. I talked to Sarah's lawyer, who is a mutual friend, and I found out from the lawyer that Sarah had actually inherited a good amount of money from her parents. Yet, she had chosen to hide it from me, and I don't know, it was a lot. And it could have really helped us out with the financial crisis, but Sarah had put all the burden on me, instead of helping in some sort of way, and above all of it, she had hidden it from me. I could not sleep that night because my mind just kept darting back to her lies. I just could not stop wondering the reason behind it. I don't know what to do at this point. I still have not gotten any evidence of Sarah having an affair, but her lies keep on increasing in number, and I know that something is not right. But I just don't know how I will find out the truth. I don't think that I can ask Sarah directly about it. I mean, what should I do next? Update number 2. Hey, thank you guys to everybody who suggested any advice. I want to narrate what happened next in my life, and I've been going through a dilemma with my wife constantly lying to me and keeping the truth from me. I thought about it a lot, and I finally decided that I would confront Sarah and have a reasonable conversation with her, in which I would discuss everything that was going on in my head. Before I was able to do that, the truth just unfolded in front of me. So one day, I returned from work earlier than usual. Sarah was in the kitchen baking something, and I said hello to her and went to the room to change into comfortable clothing. I saw Sarah's laptop on the bedside table. The screen was on, and I could not help but look at it. The messages from Facebook were popping up on the screen, and I read some of them, and I could feel my world collapsing as I read through them. Sarah was talking to some guy from Texas. I saw my gut feeling in the form of reality in those messages. Sarah was really having an affair. My wife was no doubt cheating on me, whom I had loved with all my heart. I knew it. It was not just an affair as I had expected. Sarah had decided that she was going to leave me for him. I found out the reason that she had lied to me about getting any help from her parents. She had decided to keep her inheritance and share it with the guy that she was going to be with after divorcing me. From the messages, it was crystal clear that the other guy was named Ethan, and he also belonged to a rich family. They had made several future plans for their wealth, and I went to the washroom just to take a shower. All of it began to hit me, and I began to cry. I cried my heart out as I was overwhelmed with a lot of emotions. As I stepped out of the shower, my feelings had changed from the grief to revenge. I was now intent on making sure that Sarah had misery at every step of her life. See, Sarah baked cookies and offered me some, and I wanted to just throw the dish out of her hands, and a few minutes ago I would have done that, but after thinking for a while, I had composed myself enough to pretend. So I smiled and took the cookie while my mind stayed on the revenge. Update number 3. Hey guys, I'm back with an update. So I told you earlier I found out that Sarah was cheating on me. But instead of confronting her, I really wanted to see how far she was willing to go. And I'm here to give a pretty quick update on the situation as I want to share something with you guys. It may sound sinister on my part, but that's how angry I am at the moment. I can't remain rational or kind at all. So since that day, I've been checking all of Sarah's emails and text. I know her passwords now, and I make sure to sneak into her phone every now and again. I did a background check on Ethan just to make sure to sneak into her phone, and I need to know more about Ethan. I was more overjoyed to find out that he was a fraud. Yes, a fraud. You heard that right. He has no huge family fortune, as he told Sarah. He has a very ordinary job, and he doesn't really work or have any sort of career. He has a criminal history, and he has already scammed a lot of people. He must be planning to do the same with Sarah, and he must have eyes on Sarah's inherited fortune. After finding out this piece of information made things easier for me, as I realized that I would not even need to come up with a revenge plan. Sarah's going to taste her karma herself, and I saw from a conversation with Ethan that Sarah is about to file for a divorce. I'm more than prepared for it now, and I can't even wait for Sarah to be scammed by the guy that she was having an affair with, who she was leaving me for, and I can't wait to update you guys on the next drama in my life. Update number 4. Hey, here's what happened next in my life. As you already know, I found out that my wife was going to divorce me, and that's exactly what she did. The worst part is that she did not even bother to talk to me once face to face. One day, as I got home from my job, I found out that Sarah was gone. She had left the house just like that, and all of her belongings were gone. There was a note and an envelope on the coffee table. The note said, "Do not contact me or try to reach out to me. I've left us far behind, and there's no point in trying." Well, the note did make me a little sad, but I just cheered myself up, thinking about the reality that was going to hit her after doing this to me. I signed the divorce papers without any hesitation. Thanks to her text messages, I've been mentally prepared for all of it. A few days after my divorce, I was very sad. I was having a hard time trying to cope with it, and the house felt weirdly empty all the time. Even though the last few months with my wife has been normal, I missed her. When you're living with somebody for a long time, you just get used to their presence, and I was missing Sarah a lot. And I was finally processing my emotions, which was hard for me. I began to drink more than I should, and I was also taking days off from work as I was usually hungover and unable to reach the office in time. My friends noticed it and got concerned for me. My best friend visited me one evening and he sat me down to talk to me. He told me that I was being unfair to myself. I was ruining myself with these unhealthy and toxic habits. He advised me not to let his setbacks stop me from destroying my life with my own hands. He motivated me a lot and asked me to deal with my grief in a better way. My best friend's words really impacted me, and I realized that I was throwing myself into a deep pit. I needed to get motivated to emerge as a better person instead of ruining myself more. From the very next day, I began to follow my best friend's advice. I stopped drinking the way that I've been doing for the last few days. I got up early and went for a walk, and after that, I made sure to reach the office on time. I decided to concentrate on my job to prevent negative thoughts that surrounded me when I'm free and not doing anything. However, I would be lying if I said that I did not think about Sarah at all. My mind did dart off to her every now and then. However, I kept all my emotions and feelings under control. At the back of my head, I knew I was waiting for Sarah to be conned by Ethan. I was fine, apparently, but I was anticipating her deeds getting back to her. To my utmost joy, that happened really soon. So, my best friend came to me one night. I was about to go to sleep, and his arrival was strange at that time. He seemed worried as he sat down to talk, and he told me that he had a call from Sarah. She was crying on the call and was pleading with him to talk to me. Sarah said Ethan had taken away all of her wealth and that she was left with absolutely nothing. They had not even gotten married, and she had lost every single penny of her inheritance. Now she was jobless and did not have any money at all. She was extremely distressed, and she was hoping that my friend would talk her up to me. My friend had come to talk to me and just passed along her message, and I told my friend very firmly to make it clear to her that I would not tolerate any sort of contact with her in any way. I was done with her, and she had thrown away our relationship with her own hands. I had nothing to do with it, and I did not care if she was regretting her decision or whatever. She meant nothing to me, and now she was on her own. As soon as my friend left the house, I literally jumped in ecstasy. It was what I've been waiting for. Sarah and I had finally gotten the taste of karma, and I was loving it. I was just amused by the fact that she wronged me and got wronged instantly. I don't even have any sort of shame in admitting that. Update number 5. Thanks a bunch for all the positive and encouraging messages, guys. I just wanted to give you people an update about what's happening in my life. I had mentioned earlier that Sarah tried to reach out to me through my friend. She wanted to reconcile as she was in a very poor condition. Well, I refused, clearly, and I was trying to move on with my life. Last week, Sarah just showed up at the house without any warning. She was sitting on the doorstep when I came home, and she looked very disturbed. It was clear that she was not in a good condition mentally as well as physically, and she asked me if I could just talk a little. I told her that I really did not have anything to talk to her about, as it was best that she leaves. She was abstinent, and she did not want to leave without having a little talk. I felt bad about her standing in the doorway, so I let her in. She sat down in the living room and began her sob story. She just completely put everything on Ethan and said that, well, he had been blackmailing her to do everything that she said, that she did not have any affair, that she had just left and divorced me because she feared that he would hurt one of us. I kept listening to her intricate lies, and at last I spoke, and I did not hold anything back. I told her that she should be ashamed of herself for being disloyal and cheating on me, and she should be more ashamed about lying to me again, so I just assured her that I knew the entire truth as I had read all the conversations with Ethan. I knew that he was not blackmailing her and that she had left me on her own will. Hearing this, she turned red as another lie of hers has been caught. After that, she starts to tell me that she had no money and nobody to get help from. She was not getting a new job and she had no savings, and she asked me if I could help her or maybe loan some money, which she would, of course, return as soon as she gets a job. I stared at her as I was shocked by her audacity to expect help from me. I told her to have some respect, leave me alone. I asked if she really thought that I'd ever help her out after what she did to me and to us. She really ruined everything just for some fling? I didn't realize that I was yelling by the time I said this, and honestly, I had all this anger pent up inside me. So she starts yelling at me, saying that I failed to spoil her and love her, but this was all untrue. I couldn't bear to listen to all the crap that she was saying, so I walked to the door, I opened it, I asked her to leave at once, and I slammed the door hoping to never see her again.